Today's episode, we're going to be building a pond. It's going to, where these flags are, it's going to go down and across. There's a creek that runs right through here. We're going to use this terrace as the backside, going around, fill all this in with the dirt out of the pond, knock down these 4 or 5 trees, and then cut a terrace towards the dump truck to catch all the water running off this hill to run it down in here. And we may build another terrace across here to sort of hold more water. We might wait and see if it'll even hold water that high. I don't know if it will. It might for, after a hard rain, but I think it's just going to settle in and never hold water back that far. We're going to try to push all that out, fill all this in, and the spillway is going to run across here and go on down to where it naturally does. But we're going to clean all this up, scratch all the grass off, and get to digging. Hopefully we'll get down more than 2 or 3 feet before we start getting some really soft dirt, which is what I'm afraid of. So we'll see what happens. So I went ahead and knocked the trees down, saved you that, shoved them over there, be out of the way. Now for all this mud, I'm gonna push, these is remnants of old burn piles, a bunch of sticks, topsoil and whatnot. I'm gonna push it back there, get it behind the pond dam so it'll grow grass. And then they need a bunch of this dirt up by the house, so I'm gonna strip all the grass and what little bit of topsoil there'll be on this and push it over there so they can haul it up to the house for their finish grade later. got it all stripped, got all the mud. It was all right in here. I pushed it over there. I was gonna try to push it down in there, but I couldn't really drive through it, so put it over there. He can it'll probably take a month to dry out. If they run out of dirt up by the house, we'll shuttle bus it up there and use it for finished grade. They probably still got another couple 3 months on that house. There's a huge pile of topsoil over there, and so the rest of this I'm gonna push some in a pile back over there for that low spot there. But pretty much the rest of this is gonna go back behind the dam and build it up and create a, see, I don't know if you can see it over in this area. That's where the water's gonna go. So maybe we'll set it up on a time lapse and push dirt for the next 2 days. Well, we've been cutting for about, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours. Started off really good, nice layer of clay, and then it turns back to a kind of a sandy brown dirt, and then I'm guessing this is pretty much water table. So I'll probably go ahead and cover that up so it won't bleed water so bad with some of this better clay, and then go in here and cut it all down and around. I don't know, it's probably 5 foot or so there, and we haven't built the dam up, so like I said, it's not going to be a real big pond. They just want more of a water feature, but hopefully they don't start bleeding water so I don't have to pump it out tomorrow. So here we go. All right, so this is kind of the end of day one. I'm shooting for the spillway to go right through here. It's kind of where the water naturally wanted to go. It's about 8 foot between there. I built a little berm to catch all the water that comes down through here. I've cut it down as far as I could. It's kind of getting to the water table, so I think in the morning I'm gonna bring the little excavator out, cut this down about 2, maybe 3 more feet. See how much I'm sinking. You can't really tell, maybe. Tracks are sinking about 6 inches lower than the blade when you're cutting it, so if I keep driving on it, it'll just keep getting worse. So what I did was I just cut the banks out real hard on both sides. This is, I don't know, 5 foot maybe. So I'm gonna clean the edges up real good, bring the excavator, throw the softer dirt to the side where it'll be under the water anyways, and use all this hard dirt on the driving surfaces. This dirt will dry out, but once you throw it up there, it's really hard to push. You can't hardly move it around. So we'll bring the excavator out and dig it. I don't have the transit with me. I'm hoping my overflow is the same height as the end of that pin, and then I'll move some of these flags around and give me a better idea where the water, when it goes out, the overflow will be. So see you in the morning. All right, so we're out here, the day number 2. I took the transit out and I set it over there at last stake. That's as high as I would like the water to go, and I got lucky, and right in between them 2 trees is where the spillway is going to be. Like I say, I got lucky. It's within like 2 inches or something, but a lot of this has still got to get built up. We're going to cut all this out around in there, and then I'm going to try to push it. There's a wash right there, and there's another one over there. So the rest of this dirt, that's all topsoil for his finish grade on his house, and then the rest of this dirt I'm going to push up the hill in these canyons and make sure it's higher on that one side so all the water runs in here. And then I still got a little more to do on the overflow here. I just kind of karate chopped this yesterday, but right here is within like 2 inches over there, which, you know, sometimes you just get lucky. But they say you better be lucky than good any day. And I'm gonna dress all this out with probably the skid steer. I'll do what I can with the dozer, but I'm gonna reline that bank all the way down to there. It's really low, it holds water, and then all the way to the fence. I'll make sure it all slopes down. And then, I don't know if you can, how well you can see it, there's a huge, like in between here, there's a huge draw. So I'm gonna put a couple feet of dirt, 3 or 4 foot of fill in there to burn some of this dirt up that's going to come out of this pond, because we still probably got every bit of what I pushed yesterday still to come out. And then I'm going to take the excavator and I'm going to dig the center down probably 2 foot. I got down to the point where the more I drove on it, it really started squishing it out, so I quit. And then I'll dig that out at the very last. That way it doesn't start bleeding water real bad. It's not real bad now, but when I was right over here, you can see it a little better. I don't know if there, I think there was a tree right here. It's probably part of the problem too. But it's just a real gushy soaked. So if I cut down another foot or two, it'd probably stand in water in here. So we'll do that at the very last. I'm gonna throw all this behind the bank build that up about 1.5 feet all the way down, because it goes right into the creek after that. We don't want any water running into that and washing it out. So we'll jump in a dozer and get with it. All right, I've been shooting a lot of video because I'm pushing it so far. Even a time lapse on a tripod or something, you really wouldn't see the dozer half the time. So I've cut this down about another 1.5 feet where it started getting really soft, and we're at the water table. It's just muck. So I made me a flat spot. I'm gonna put the excavator in here. I'm gonna dip it out and throw it to the side and push it on around the backside. I need about 200-300 more yards to finish the spillway. I pushed a whole bunch up there. This is all gonna get cut. Water level is probably gonna be right about here somewhere. And then it goes back here to the stick. It's probably about 8 foot deep right now. 7 maybe, if it holds where it's supposed to go. And then pushed all that dirt back in there to get the water run right. I'm gonna have to cut a little trench out here to make it run for sure, but we'll get the camera set up when I get the excavator out and start flipping that dirt out. Well, the good news is once you get through all the goop, there's a really hard layer of clay. Problem is the excavator, this little shelf I made, is too far into the goop. So, plan B. So I'm just gonna go ahead and push this out. I'll set the excavator up here, reach as far as I can. That other side's a lot harder, so I'll reach across here and then throw it on that bank. I'll go ahead and dress that up. We're gonna trim these limbs, me and the homeowner, here in a little bit. And I'll go ahead and get that whole side of the bank done first, and then hopefully I'll use all this wet stuff on the slope. It's gonna be underwater anyway, so let's see if I can even push this out of the way. So I cut me a new shelf here. I cleaned all that slop out. What I'm gonna do, I cut another shelf over here. Hopefully this one will hold me up. About 2 foot above where it started getting kind of swampy. And then I'm gonna flip all this up on top and build a higher bank. That way I don't ever run into the creek. And I'm gonna cut it down. I don't know. We'll see how deep we go, but I can throw that on the other side and let it dry out. Maybe by tomorrow I can work with it, but it might take 3 or 4 days. But get it out of there and get this all built up because the spillway's right here. So we'll see if the little temporary shelf I made will hold it up. So I'm just gonna flip all this stuff on the other side here. And I know a bigger excavator would make this job a whole lot easier. A lot faster, but I don't really need one at this point. If I had 10 or 15 of these jobs lined up for the next 6 months, yeah, I'd go buy one. But you know, this 306 is still pretty impressive. I mean, that's wet dirt. And it just chugs right along. Alright, so this is the start of day number 3. I got the other side cut out yesterday, pushed a shelf and walked the excavator down there, threw all the muddier dirt on top, and then I kind of re-sloped, roughed it in. I'm gonna push some of this dirt, need a little more down there by that stake to build it up a little higher. I reached down as far as I could reach. This side I ran back into some pretty hard clay-ish. It's still got a lot of sand in it. I was debating on whether or not to push some of this dirt and try to cap this. It's like a black clay down here almost. But it's still got a lot of sand in it. I don't know. It's more like a red select. It's not really a clay, so I don't know how well it'll hold water, and it's still pretty soft down there. So I really don't want to. I see the dozer being permanently fish attracting or something, so I really don't want to get back down in there. And this is in a bottom. It's going to be spring fed. So we're going to clean all this up, build this up a little higher, going around. I'm going to leave this shelf here. It'll be 2, maybe 3 foot lower than this one. This one might cut down a little more, and then it'll slope down, and then it'll be sloped off. That way, a little different fish habitat. They haven't decided if they want me to put some trees down here in the bottom of this or not, and recut all this and basically just finish it up. So we got the machine filling up, warming up, and we'll get started. So I'm in the final, trying to clean it up right now. I already walked the other side in. It's pretty much done. I just got to set the transit up and go over the top of it. I'm going to radius this down, get it close, and then I'm going to bring the excavator over here to the right on this side, clean this edge, flip it back, push everything behind, then clean up on the other side, and I'm almost done. edges and kind of pull some of this dirt back, straighten it up, push it around back. I'm heading down the home stretch on this little project. Make it look good. Alright, we got it all finished. Here's the spillway. It's gonna go down and around. This was probably originally where this creek ran, you know, back when they were cavemen out here. This is about 8 inches higher than the first spillway. Since it's built in the bottom, there is no like tin horns or overflows like you do on a normal pond, and so the emergency spillway is just right here. Once it starts running, then it'll just come around over here, and if it gets up about 6 more inches than that, then it'll just run around right here. The creek is just on the other side of them trees. It's about 15-18 foot deep, and anyway, so it goes on around here, redone all the slopes, is all washed out, pushed all that dirt over there, so I got all the water catching into the pond and running around them 2 trees. And it just runs down around and goes on downstream. So I went ahead and made a bunch of fish cover and habitat. I was going to put some trees in there, but I think he's going to do it after the pond fills up instead of throwing whole trees in there. Actually make some. But so this shelf right here is about 6 foot below the water line, and then it drops another 5 or 6 feet, so it's 11-12 foot deep maybe. And then this shelf on this side is about 4 feet below if it holds it full. And I put a slope and a berm, makes a place for them to hide. And on this point, I'll walk over there, but I made kind of a point that comes off this pecan tree because I wanted the water to kind of go around it anyways. Didn't want a typical round or square pond, so we kind of made it a little zigzag. I'd like to come back. It's supposed to rain next week, so maybe I'll wait to produce a video until after I come back, if it rains, because I know if we get 2 or 3 inches of water, it'll be full. I don't know if you can tell the contour, but there's a point that comes up and back down. This right here is deep. It's almost the same 2 or 3 foot difference, and then it comes back up. The water goes way up in there. I had to cut it down a lot more to get the water to run out of that hole up there, so I might have to come back and add more dirt and build all that up to make it work right. But that's it. We'll do a drone shot on the next one.